Welcome back to the Jesse Rucinski show. Literally, guys, I have no idea if you're watching the video why that glitches out like that. So I apologize for that. Um, Appreciate you guys all coming back and checking it out. If you didn't check out part one that I did Tuesday, please go and find that one and give that a listen before you listen to this or after. I mean, you're going to hear the whole plan, regardless if it's in numerical order. It's the same thing. But I do appreciate everyone for coming. And don't worry, with everything going on right now in the Ukraine, I know I'm not, discussing it right now, but there's a lot still going on. There's all kinds of stuff happening, moving parts. So I'm going to get on to all of that next week. I've been keeping tabs on it, but there's so much going on and all kinds of stuff out there. I'm sure everyone's, not tired of hearing about it, but I mean, I'm talking about it a lot. And so I'm going to get to it next week. Just, let more cards fall in line, let things, play out more, get more, official reporting, because lots of propaganda, lots of misinformation, all kinds of stuff all over the place from a lot of people. So I'm not trying to ignore it. I'm just, letting it play out another couple days and get all of my information on point before, I go into it, because it's serious and you want to make sure you get all your facts straight when it comes to that, so you don't spread any idiocy or anything. So, and I've heard a lot of it from all sides. About all of our political, parties and landscapes. I've heard it from people that are actually over there, that live there. There's been a lot of it. So I don't want to be that guy and put my foot in my mouth repeatedly. So we will get to that next week, though. Just let you should know, at the beginning of this, I'm not trying to ignore it, keeping very close tabs on all of it. I don't like it. It was avoidable, but you're saying it for a while. Here it is in reality. So, it's not going to get any better, which is really why I'm taking my time, make sure it's, everything's right, because it's, too important and it's going to get so much worse. So, that being said, back on to Rick Scott's 11-point plan to save America. Lots of good stuff in there. Went over a bunch of it, over the top 6 the other day being education, which we have fallen off. And I've been saying that for forever. Like, we have fallen off the world's rankings for our education being worth anything at all compared to the world. We've been dumbing people down for a very long time. Most of us actually understand that. But that's a big one. No, like just straight history. Sorry, you're not going to like it all. Deal with it. No one is 100% happy with history and the way, things that happen, but you learn from them and see where we've come, and that makes it all so much better. No more CRT or any of this, these perverse, really just bad books. Like, there's none of that. Like, just straight education. Get, funding away from it, from the Fed. Like, this is the Fed, not the funding. Get the Fed away from it, because since they got involved, it's gotten a lot worse. Like, our rankings just keep getting worse. So get them out of the equation. Let it go back to the way it was when we weren't a whole bunch of blithering idiots. Not sure that's the nicest way to put it, but make sure we're not all blithering idiots anymore. But that's an important one. Colorblind equality, number 2, and I never see people for, the color of the skin, teaching people and telling people, like, tell us how you're different than them. Like, all this, like, we're all the same. And teaching people that anyone's superior, inferior, or has better chances, or holding anyone down, just spreads division. And, like, it's trying to beat racism with more racism, even though they're not trying to beat it. They're just trying to divide everyone more, because really it's just, we're divided against each other. There's not going to be anyone to stand in their way from doing whatever they want. They like to keep people distracted, as is everyone. It isn't just our country's politics. Like, that's how they do it. But, getting all that off of all forms, race questions, like, it shouldn't make a difference what you are. Either you can qualify for it or you can't, or anything. Like, so everyone should be able to agree with that. Safety and crime, duh. I mean, I don't even need to go over the crime rates. I've done it enough. People should respect the police and get, punished for being idiots. Believe it or not, all these numbers are going up when we're not doing it. So why would we punish them less? Like, that one's I've never understood that one. Immigration, obviously, everyone has borders, and you get thrown in jail and all kinds of things. Legally crossing other countries. We shouldn't be, giving people, no court dates. See you later. Here's a ticket somewhere. Like, and they've been doing it. They did it under Obama a lot. Like, it's just look at the numbers. Trump had like 400,000 more crossings in his last 3 years combined than Biden had in his first year. Just apprehensions, not getaways for everything else. I don't care who you are, how you try to spin it. That's bad. It's not good at all. I mean, we should be spending money on like our own citizens and our own stuff instead of, doing all that. And we should also, look at all the border, like the drugs that come across, cartel members, criminals, people on the terror watch list, like all kinds of people have been apprehended and drug seized and all kinds of stuff coming across the border. Like, I'm sorry, it's not a racist thing. It's a national security thing. If you don't see it that way, you actually are an idiot, and you're, sowing all these seeds of just hate and everything because you just can't see it as anything but that, which is why I say they're the biggest racists like out there. They're just too dumb to notice it. And for anyone that just saw me light that or heard that lighter, that candle smells like a DUI. You guys can go in the comments section, text me, message me, and guess what that smell is then. Text me. I don't know, but it smells to bad decisions or a DUI. Nothing good ever happens when that scent is involved. But, like we should, like, again, drugs, gangs, criminals, people on the terror watch list from like the Middle East that we were apprehending. Like, there's a lot more into it. It's not like because we're racist, because I'm sorry, without borders, you have no country. Anyone just come and go as they please. Like, sorry, all kinds of places have had borders for a very long time. Economy, growth, yes, we should make people get back to work and stop, making all these unnecessary government jobs. They should stop sticking their thumb and their nose into everything. Go back to we should make everything here. And everyone's told someone he was a xenophobe and all kinds of things for wanting to do everything here. All this nationalist stuff, it was bad and compared him to Hitler, but now then Biden ran on bringing everything back and building it all here. And now look where we are right now because, well, still waiting. But getting that going and going properly and curbing inflation and all that is really, a giant key thing. And anyone that says it's not a big thing or it doesn't affect me, so I don't care, it's like you're something. I'll be doing really good and not blowing a gasket on this lately. Trust me, I'm finally going back and listening to myself. There were some episodes where I was going. Well, I apologize for all the dirty stuff. No, man, I was mad. And notice I started out really good until a certain something happened last summer. And then, well, the wheels fell off. But I've been doing really good not cussing. But, again, debt ceiling increases, all this spending, like get rid of all kinds of stuff we don't need, sell off all old federal buildings that are just abandoned. Might help pay for debt and stuff. Like we shouldn't be spending all kinds of extra money on all this stupid stuff when we're just going trillions and trillions of dollars into debt every second. And government reform and debt, that goes right into that, what I was saying. They're not going to follow like the laws, the government, like we should be able to go after them, which we should. Report telling everyone where everything goes and all the money for Social Security, Medicare, that makes sense. Veterans, the ability to choose where they want to go, like we're on our way there. And I know, post-COVID, all that, but like my care, just here in this area before the election and then after has been astronomical. And I was in the VA under, 3 presidents now. So I know where it was. And now I know where it is. And it was atrocious. First president I was in under. It was actually a little bit better. Like I wasn't waiting nearly as long. I got stuff done. Like it was good. And then, well, nothing to say here to me, but I never had a doctor tell me, well, your x-rays are clean. So maybe one day we'll have a test to prove what level of pain you're actually in. But until then, there's nothing we could do because they refuse to look at it, anything. I never had that problem before. So that was different, but we should have the right to do whatever we want. All unnecessary land, buildings, like all that should be sold off to help pay towards national debts and stuff. It's true. Like that's I'm a fan of that. Like abandoned buildings that we're not using, land, all kinds of stuff. Like they're just holding on to, like we could sell it off and start paying off this debt. We shouldn't be paying all these extra government agencies and having all this stimulus that, And all of this, like, there's so much that I've been pissed about giving money to like gender studies in the Middle East and pottery in Morocco. Like, we're like, I'm sorry, we're broke, really broke, and we're paying for stuff like that. I've always said we should be done paying all kinds of extra stuff, but no one actually ever looked into any of the extra stuff when we were saying it. They just told us we were all crazy and that I was crazy. And I am crazy, but I'm crazy because of all of them. Don't you ever forget that. And finally brings us into number 7, which is fair, fraud-free elections, which, I am fully all about that. We all know my problems with this most recent election. You know, like state Supreme Courts and attorney generals changing like election laws like the day before elections and stuff, when that's what legislators are there for. Those guys aren't there to just go and write laws and do all that. Like, it's not the proper way. Stuff that happened in Michigan where it says it has to be solicited for a mail-in, but it doesn't say that it cannot be solicited. And there's just so much dumb happening everywhere, and they're talking about all these voting rights. Now, the Republicans are trying to steal everything, but if you actually read any of it, I mean, we don't want ballot harvesting. We want drop boxes outside of county election offices, so you can put it there, so it's not just in the middle of nowhere. Voter ID, which again, you need an ID for everything, so I don't understand how that's racist. Maybe someone could fill me in on that. I don't know. I don't think it is, but and they want to make federalized elections, which right in the Constitution says the states have the rights, not the federal. So why would they want to like I'm sorry, it's worked this long for this long. Why suddenly have the need to change everything? Everything can be improved, but completely eradicating all of it, believe it or not, isn't the way to fix it. But we'll fight for maximum voter participation and 0% fraud. Voter ID requiring a voter validate their identity must be the law. And I mean, I will say, like, they do say, like, it goes on to talk about Democrats there, but the last sentence is all arguments against voter ID are in favor of fraud. Like, again, the ID, like, what makes it racist? Like, literally, need an ID to do everything. Hell, well, they were saying that's racist. You need a picture ID to get into the DNC. So you need an ID to get in there. That's okay. But getting one to vote, which is one of the biggest things that we have in the country, the people don't understand. Like, that's racist. Like, if you agree with that, yeah, I'm just going to move on. But nice to say, like, it's very that simple. A ballot harvesting shouldn't be a good thing. Ballots can only be submitted to polling location by a voter or the post office. No ballots show up after election day, and especially during 2020 when their states counting them for like up to a week after. Especially in places like Pennsylvania. Like, you guys were literally, I know how locked down you were. Got the family up there. And I was down here in North Carolina. I know how many ballot like forms I was getting in the mail to send in to get one since like April. Election day was in November. What in the hell were you doing for 5-6 months that you couldn't get it in on time? Like, there's actually not a valid excuse. So I'm sorry if it's not there then, but it shouldn't count. That's just me. Non-citizens, they shouldn't be able to vote. Sorry. Be a citizen to have the right to vote. I know New York City just did move to let them do that. You shouldn't let, I agree, you should not let taxpayer money fund political campaigns. That should not be a thing. That should all be money and donations and stuff that they get from people. There should be no taxpayer money going to that. And there shouldn't be any foreign money coming in. Now, for like recounts and stuff, you can have foreign money that, like, they could do that, but you shouldn't have taxpayer dollar or foreign money coming in to pay for any election here. Sorry, it's not a good look. Counting of ballots must be done in full public view expeditiously and continue without pause until all votes have been tabulated. I'll give you that. No weird things showing up in the middle of the night. There must be no same-day registration. This does not allow election officials to verify the validity and accuracy of voter information. I could see that. Yeah, what the hell are you doing all year? Doing on the internet too. Like, what are you doing all year? No one should be automatically registered without their consent or knowledge. as this opens the way for multiple registrations by the same individual and registration of ineligible voters. Unmanned or unmonitored ballot boxes in public areas to collect unlimited ballots must be prohibited, and no American citizen can be denied their sacred right to vote or be given special voting privileges based on race, religion, zip code, or ethnic origins. Again, a lot of good stuff in there, but ballot harvesting, bad. Voter ID, not racist, actually very good, as you need one to do everything else. Why shouldn't we have the same security in our elections? Why do you think we still be able to have these, elections and do anything like that? Just throwing it out there. And yeah, I'm sorry, like that was a big one. Like if you did like a non-citizens, with the big one, how did you not get it in by election day in some of these states? Like I know how early I was getting them. I know how early other people, like places like Pennsylvania and Arizona, that people in Michigan that I physically know, how early they were getting them, how many requests they were. I was getting like sometimes 7, 8 a week down here. Like, how did you not get it in by election day? What the hell were you doing? Sorry, but I was getting them for 6 months before I went and voted. And I went early. Early voting in person is a good thing. 6 months I was getting them. How did you not get it in time if that was your choice, your method to do it? Like, I physically cannot understand that. I'll never be able to understand that. I don't get it. I never will get it. How is it even possible? I don't understand. But like there were 6, 7 months there. How the hell could you not get it in time? Like I'm actually legitimately concerned and confused by that. Like no one can actually, oh, we should count them. Like, no, you had 6, 7 months to get it in some states. How did you not do it? You were getting slammed every week with, hey, do you want a ballot? 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 It was like the seagulls in Finding Nemo. Mine. Like it never stopped. And somehow people, oh, we need to give it like what if they get, well, they have this many days after election day for it to get in, which means they could do it after the election's done and send it in. Like it's like how? Like even if you put it in like the day before, how the hell did you wait that long to do it? Why don't you bring it over to your local election office? Every county has one. Give it to them. How did it take you that long? No one will ever give me a good excuse as to how people did not get them in. I don't even care how good your excuse is. None of them will ever make sense. Ever. Ever, ever. Never. Because there isn't a good one for that. At all. Come on. Let's move on to number 8, shall we? Number 8 is family. We'll protect, defend, and promote the American family at all costs. I think we should. No federal program or tax laws will reward people for being unmarried or discriminate against marriage. So actually, like, a real thing. Even though many single moms heroically do the job of raising a family, as my mom often had to, this is coming from Rick Scott, children need and deserve both parents, and government should not be shy about saying so. Families are crucial in raising young men and women of character and responsible members of society. The best form of governing our society is not government. It is family. And look at what I said about Denzel said, Washington. His friends ended up in jail. He didn't, because he had a dad there to smack him in the back of the head and tell him, no, you need to get his stuff together. Abortions are a tragedy, which must make adoption accessible and affordable. And again, there's some, fuzzy ears about, that, because I think everyone pretty much thinks there's some kind, like most people think there's some kind of, thing. Thing isn't the right word, but I guess there's some kind of something. Again, if it's going to kill the mother, like there's things that, are acceptable, but just a lot of them, how many, like, no, for how many there are, those aren't. We currently make it very expensive for prospective parents to adopt, even though many kids desperately need families. This is insane. Yeah, and we need to change it. And I agree. We will keep low-income single women who are considering abortion choose life instead by paying all costs associated with carrying the child to term and placing the child for adoption. We will stop Democrat Party efforts to discriminate against faith-based adoption agencies. And well, they have before. All kinds of conservative anything, church anything. Most faith-based groups provide far superior service than government agencies do. We will utilize and empower them. School administration and teachers will work for parents. Yep, parents, not government, will choose which schools their kids attend, as they should. We will end the Biden administration policy of using the FBI to intimidate parents. School board meetings, which they do, must defend the American family from societal elements that eroded. We must enforce existing federal obscenity laws. Our society has almost given up on demanding decency. We must aim higher. True. We must protect our children from the explosion of pornography and cyber predators. The FCC must hold online platforms and broadband providers accountable for not adequately providing tools for parents to keep this trash out of their homes. We will make it impossible for deadbeat dads to avoid paying child support, beginning with paternity. They will either pay up or go to jail with no other options. And situationally, I think they have to play that one, not just straight down. Because, yeah, there's sometimes where like the mother literally doesn't want anything, to do with him. He doesn't want anything, like, and it's just, again, situational. There's sometimes, again, I'm not trying to get into any of that argument, but a few good things in there. Discrimination isn't good. I was all for school choice. Like, just because you live in a dump with dump schools doesn't mean you should be forced to go to said dump schools so your kid doesn't get an education that's worth anything. That's really the big one right there. And to get rid of all those programs that they did for like single females, like you get more money welfare for being single female, like stuff like that shouldn't ever have happened. People do need to stand up more, be families and, do the right thing. But sometimes it's hard. And when it comes to the FCC, I mean, look at how quick, really just an example for me that I still think about to this day is when they shut down Parler, just like off of everything. And they have all these child sex rings and porn, like rings and all that. Like, and they see where it's coming from. Like, they could see all the stuff and how they're getting and where they're moving, but that stuff is still on there, and they say they can't do anything about it. And if you could shut this down, we have the capabilities to do it. And but the whole pornography thing, I mean, you see the books that people are, parents are reading out at school board meetings that they're available to their like fourth graders and stuff, like an MTV, like just trash TV, the Kardashians, Teen Mom, 16 and like there's all this like just really bad TV that people let people watch, and it become like so normal that it really has made everything cataclysmic and bad. And it's true, you can argue it, but I mean, trash TV, like I was watching real trash TV, man, like Jerry Springer. They didn't turn out as bad as, all of this going on right now, but again, something that could help everything. 9, gender life science. Men are men, women are women, and unborn babies are babies. We believe in science. And, there's a lot to that one, but let's read these points here. Abortion kills human children. To deny that is to deny science. True. Whether you believe in God or not, as a civilized people who accept science, we must protect babies, born and unborn, from all acts of violence. True. While government policies will favor having more babies adopted, not aborted, humans are born male and female. There are 2 genders, and to deny that is to deny science. Science says so. No government forms will include questions about gender identity or sexual preference. Good deal. No doctor will be allowed to perform irreversible surgical or gender-altering procedures on any minor child. Once they become adults, they can do whatever they wish. True that, because your brain actually isn't fully developed yet. So you're in your 20s. So, doing it, like when you're a young kid, especially in the States, try to do it like they can do it without parental consent. Like that's actually physically insane. Yeah, that's it. Physically, actually insane. Like that. And then what if they change their mind? It's too late. And they've like use your brain with all this stuff. Just stop being so dumb. And we'll protect women's sports by banning biological males from competing. It's hugely unfair and would erase many of the gains women have made in athletics over the last 50 years. And I've been saying that since they started it. Never mind, the swimmer for Penn, who's out there just shattering everyone's records. Transgender woman in the UFC, I believe it was, or some MMA thing, breaking all of her like opponents' orbital sockets because you were a man for that long. bone density, muscle mass, all of that is different, no matter what. And you still had that advantage for all those years until you switched. And it really actually isn't fair. I mean, again, we went over the records before, how many seconds we have in the 100, 200, 300, 400, like all of that. And, sorry, like they tried so hard to make all these gains, just like Megan Rapinoe, and like fighting for them to have equal thing. Yeah, I think, they should be able to play in female sports. Like, well, they're going to come and take over your sports. Like, they're all setting records and all that stuff in your sports. Like, so it's biological men taking over women's sports and getting the records. Like, I'm sorry, you should be fighting for, giving into them is taking so much away from women. They really did work really hard. I mean, I'm not against Megan Rapinoe because she runs her suckhole about that, especially when it comes to the men's national and the women's national soccer, teams, because really pulls their weight, the women's team. They deserve to get paid equally as the men, if not more, because they at least were doing something. But just to give it all away, and you could be as angry and tell me I am whatever you want to call me. I don't care. Call me anything, except for late to dinner. Don't call me late to dinner. Nothing wrong with having a good dinner, but like it really does. It takes away from their sports and from all the strides they've made. It'd be considered equals and all that, and they're just taking it away just to let all these people come in. Basically, equality. We'll have them join their own sports leagues. There you go. But sorry, if you're biologically a man, you're gonna. How do I put it? You're gonna exceed people that have been naturally female their whole entire life. If it's illegal for people to use testosterone in all these sports, then why is it okay for biological men? They're still, has testosterone naturally. It was okay for them to go over and do that. Like, it literally actually doesn't make a sense when you think about it. It's bad and legal for one group to do it, but it's okay for another to have it in them naturally. Like, sorry. Look at everything Marion Jones went through, because she took some stuff and they had all these extra numbers, and yet she lost everything, and here we are. So now I fully agree with that. And if you don't actually agree with that, you need to have a good talk. Put it that way. Gets us to number 10, religious liberty big tech. Americans will be free to welcome God into all aspects of our lives. We will stop all government efforts to deny religious freedom and freedom of speech. And they have been working on that since, for a while, but Obama removed it from schools and all that. Super Catholic Joe Biden, as president, was the first one to ever keep God out of the National Prayer Day. I think like the first one ever. Like, that one, again, doesn't surprise me, but and big tech, like, they censor so much stuff. And it's amazing how, again, they have a hard time getting like all these bad things that shouldn't be there, but like they can literally, you go to post something on Facebook and they could, or social media at all, if you're on a certain side, and they can literally stop you from hitting post because they're jumping on it that fast. But they can't stop all the bad things that are happening. They're full of it. They just don't care. So it comes down to, but Americans will not be required to go against their core values and beliefs in order to conform to culture or government. We will reject both the roots and the adherence of cancel culture in America, as we should. Just get over it like you used to. Be an adult. You don't like it, you don't have to deal with it. Don't have to go and have a nuclear meltdown like a 3-year-old. Every American will be free to live out their religious convictions in the public square, not only in the home or a place of worship. We will forbid government programs from discriminating against 350,000 religious entities which operate schools, pregnancy resources centers, soup kitchens, drug addiction programs, homeless shelters, and adoption agencies. All social media platforms that censor speech and cancel people will be treated like publishers and subject to legal action. As there we go. We require big tech platforms like Facebook and Twitter to receive express consent, not as a condition of use, before using Americans' personal information in any manner, and make it simple for users to opt out. Big tech platforms will also be required to obtain user consent to sell, share, or convey user data to a third-party entity. No tax dollars will be used to pay for any diversity training or other woke indoctrination that is hostile to faith. Amen. Seemed fitting. Churches and faith-based groups will not be forced to hire employees who disagree with their tenets and convictions, which I think should be a good thing. We will stop investing federal retirement dollars with woke fund managers and companies that put left wing politics ahead of profits. Remember, the Second Amendment was established in order to protect the freedoms guaranteed in the First Amendment. And really, when it comes down to it, I mean, you have to be crazy, not notice how one sided and bad it is. Let's just go into the 2020 election. Anytime anything about Joe was said or Hunter or anything, amazing how quickly it got thrown off Facebook or anything about any of them that were running. But I mean, all the stuff about Donald Trump that was allowed left, right, and indifferently, and no one said anything. They said bad about President Biden, Kamala, Hunter on Twitter, but yet Uncle Tim can be on there for like 12, 13 hours, whatever it was, before they take it down. But they can get that stuff immediately. Like, it's very one-sided. It has been for a very long time. And, really, and cancel culture is just killing everything. Like, I'm sorry, it hurt your feelings. Do what we used to do. Act like an adult and move on. Just don't do it. Don't watch it. Don't read it. Don't be part of it. Can't hurt your feelings then. I know. Crazy idea. But it's a good idea. It makes sense. Just act like an adult. Don't have a nuclear meltdown and cry about it. Cry a little. You're always allowed to cry a little. But do not have a mental breakdown and do all this cancel culture. Everyone says it's no cancel culture. What the hell is it then? Literally. Someone, if you're on the left and you're listening to this, come up with what is it? I know you can't come up with an answer either. Which moves us on to a number 11. America first. We are Americans, not globalists. Which a lot of tenets are things that we were doing, but we will unapologetically lead the world by example. A world without American leadership would be a very dark world. Adhere to the new Monroe Doctrine. America will not allow any global enemies such as China, Russia, or radical Islam to grow their presence in our hemisphere. Touche. No foreign aid to any country that habitually opposes us at the UN. Makes sense. We will not pay any dues to the United Nations or any international organization that undermines the national interests of the USA, as we shouldn't, especially pay more than everybody. We will make our international allies pay their fair share for their own defense. We will not send our kids to do what their kids will not do. Amen. Our military will not be used as a peacekeeping force. It exists to protect us by intimidating or killing our enemies. Nation building does not work. We will not waste our treasure or troops doing it. We will always defend our allies, starting with Israel. Amen. We will treat our enemies like enemies, as we should. And Drew, I know you're not listening, but if you are, you say we'd be in worse shape if Putin's best friend Trump was in charge. Remember who put all those, tariffs and, sanctions and all that on them? And remember who got rid of them right when they got in office? Your friends take care of. Get rid of all those bad things for your enemies. Put them on. Give you all those sanctions and stuff. Just saying. No adversarial foreign government or corporation controlled by an adversarial foreign government can purchase American land. That's amazing. That should happen because how much we're sold off to Chinese and everything. The weather is always changing. We take climate change seriously, but not hysterically. We will not adopt nutty policies that harm our economy and our jobs. Amen. And again, the green stuff. Sorry, there's nowhere to get rid of any of these windmills when they get recycled. There's nowhere to have a way to get rid of the lithium batteries for electric cars when they get recycled. There's just fields and fields and fields of them just sitting there. We have to kill the world to get the lithium from the mines, which hurts the globe. It's just asinine. It really is. That was a good word. Pat myself on the back. We'll gradually end all imports from communist China until a new regime honors basic human rights and freedom. We will build supply chains that rely solely on American workers and allies. We will not be at the mercy of our enemies for medications or any essential commodities. We will terminate any trade deal that takes away American jobs, and America will be energy independent. Amen. Amen. That's a good one. There's a lot, again, good stuff in there, but we shouldn't be giving money to any adversaries. We shouldn't be lifting sanctions off of people. We shouldn't be getting oil from other places and gas when we can do it ourselves. We could sell off our excess because we've done it before. And look at all of our allies overseas that have been getting money, just oil from Russia, just there, that. And a lot of them, that's funding all kinds of money into them, no matter what anyone says. Like if we learned anything from 2020 with, supply chains and all that, like it's just astronomical that people even argue with anyone about this. Like it really actually is crazy. That we have to argue anyone with them, that they're still not like, oh, like woke up to it. Or when they say, yeah, we should build everything here. It's like that's Trump was running on. You called me raw. It's just we need everyone to wake up like across the board. But closing thing, dear friends, some nights I don't recognize the country I see on the news. An infestation of old, corrupt Washington insiders and immature radical socialists is tearing America apart. Their bizarre policies are intentionally destroying our values, our culture, and the beliefs that hold us together as a nation. They want to replace our culture with government and rewrite history. They're also busy destroying the greatest economy in the world, perverting it into an old socialist style system. Our nation can't survive this combination of wokeness, socialism, and globalism. The good news, we are going to stop them cold in 2022 and 2024. But then what will we do? What is the point unless we are ready with our own plan to renew our culture, our military, and our economy and steer America to a bright future of prosperity and peace? This plan is what we must do to rescue our country. It's not a lawyer's draft of literal legislation, but rather an action strategy based on core American principles, like the contract with America before it. The Washington insiders will hate this plan. They believe in the old idea that we should never tell voters what we plan to do. I offer it not simply to win elections, but to lead us to a better future once we win. You may not agree with every word, and that's fine. But if you share these fundamental convictions, let's go to work. America is worth fighting for. Rick Scott. And then one more thing underneath it there at the bottom of it, we are in danger of losing our country. That's why I wrote this plan. If you agree with me, then sign your name to mine and support it. Share with others. Send me your ideas. Together, we can rescue America. So there we go. Read it all, and again, I agree with a lot of it. And a lot of people should agree. Like, what is there not to agree with on that? Like, let people have the religious freedom. Stop going after like all the censoring and cancel culture. Worry about building stuff here like we did for so long. Energy independence, like sane ways to deal with climate change, not like these completely just like whatever they're coming up with this stuff. I just, how people argue it, like against any voter ID. Like, you need an ID to do everything. You need an ID to get in the DNC, but it's racist for voting. Like, if they actually ever read the plans, like they did, moving the All-Star game from Georgia, for example, from Atlanta, like if they actually read it, like they have better voting laws with that than they had in Colorado, where they moved it to, and way better than Delaware, which Joe Biden, presided over as senator for like 900 years. But again, they're apparently you didn't read it. Like, actually, numbnuts, I did. That's the problem. More early voting days. This could be expanded further. Making those boxes for ballots outside of county election offices, but I mean, they're there. If they were illegal before, like, actually did a lot of good. Voter ID, I know it's so racist. Like, people they'll stand on something as stupid as that, and I don't understand. I'll never understand how people like jump on the bandwagon of all that. Like, I don't get it, because it's so, clear as day, smack you in the face there. And people just like, they're so brainwashed from all of it. And it's just, sadly, I mean, people I know that are like that, like, they're not really that educated, They don't care. They don't leave their small little world. They don't care what anyone at the rest of the world said. Well, we're all crazy and they're right. Even though we've seen the rest of the world, a lot of us, we've seen other places outside of where we grew up. Like, we know how the world works. And, these people don't, and they just, beat the dead, like that it is the way, and they can't hear any other. I hear other sides. I think most of them are nuts, but we still listen and hear it. Might yell at it, but we still give it the time of day. And, that's what we need. There's a lot of good stuff in that plan. Again, if you ever want it, I'll send it to you. That'll be on Facebook Messenger, because it won't let me send as a text for some reason. Maybe if you have an iPhone, I could do it, but it wouldn't let me do it that way. But it's a good plan. There's a lot of just basic, simple stuff in there, like save the American family, enforce laws, like stop wasting so much money, stop fighting everyone else's war, stop giving aid to our enemies, stop being the one that pays for everyone else's everything in NATO and the UN and all. Like, stop. Like, and we're so far in debt and we're so far divided and screwed, and that's what they want. Really, that's the big thing. You ever heard Maxine Waters or any of them talk? I mean, like what? Nancy Pelosi called all of us on the right like enemies of the state. Yeah, Maxine Waters, like we saw what she said. Like that's what they do. No matter how much they say they're going to be the uniters, like they are the great dividers because they're just basket full of deplorables. Thanks, Hillary. And I've seen it as a change. Like people that were best friends, like they never leave thing and they're in their area and they don't actually see any other view. They just see what's on scene. And even when you have legal proof, like all these documents, they don't care what they hear on the news, and that's all that matters to them. They don't care about truth. And I don't know what the hell happened where there's so many people that are afraid of the truth and they won't change their mind if they hear you give a good argument, have facts, and they'll still tell you to go yourself to your face. And it's terrifying. I mean, it really is. I think it can be turned around, but it's going to take some drastic stuff to do it and not like no distractions. I mean, look at all the stuff going on between bills that are passing, Russia, Ukraine, COVID masks going away, like the border, like there's so much stuff going on, the debt, like all of it, crime rates. Like, there's always a distraction and something about, race or Trump, like just to keep everyone like not looking at the actual problems that are really going on. And then I get told I'm crazy for thinking like, no, but these are actual real problems, dude. And, it doesn't affect me. Sooner or later, they're gonna get to something, and then and I'm gonna be like, screw you. Why? So this, and this affected me, and you did not care. And I'll still be there for support and to listen to them, but I never reaches out for me like, sorry. Like I was going through some stuff and you said you did not care because it wasn't affecting you. Like, I'll still be a good person, be there, but you told me too bad. I'm gonna give it right back to you. And I mean, that's only fair. And I'm gonna feel bad when I do it, but it's just been so long. No matter what you do, it's just, everyone's like responses just start yelling at you. What good is that? What does that do for us as anything? Like, how does anyone think that's actually helping to get us back together? Like, I just don't get it. We can get there. It'll take something drastic. It'll take some people, actually getting brains, but we can get there. And I said that, and I got some chills, like for real. If you saw that, if you're watching, and I got faith. And it can be done. It's just going to take so much work, and all that wokeness to actually wake up. That'd help. But I think we could do it. And that seems like a very positive way to end it for the week. So thank you again for watching, listening. I appreciate it. Again, it was a good plan. I thought it was worth doing 2 episodes on. Who wanted to hear me talk for like 2 hours? It was really good. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Let me know what you think about it. If you want the plan, let me know. I could send it to you because it's a great plan. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in there. There really is. I mean, who's going to deny any of that basic stuff? It's just really basic, simple American values and stuff. So let me know if you want it, and please follow along on the multiple platforms that I'm on: Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, Getter, Right Only, Cloud Hub. It's all over. Spotify, Anchor, Apple and Google Podcasts. Like, I'm all over. Follow along, and please make sure you share them out. Share them out to your socials, and then go on the Facebook page. Share that out too. You have the links and all that, but share it all out. It helps the show grow and keeps growing. It gets to more people, and the more people you can enlighten with it, or can at least start dialogue and a conversation, which we haven't had in this country in a very long time, which is a shame. But and also don't forget to text me about what you think the scent of that candle is. That smells like bad decisions or DUI or both. But please no one say Jägermeister, because that's just not going to happen. But yeah, share it out. I appreciate all of you. I'll be back next week. We'll start getting into the Ukraine stuff again. There's just so much going on. And I want to make sure I get the story straight as there's so much misinformation and propaganda and just everything going all over the place. So didn't want to screw it up. So we'll get to that. Enjoy your weekend. I'm going to see Puddle of Mud tonight. Be good to each other. Be kind to each other. Don't be dicks. And yeah, till next time, my friends. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to share it out and peace.